Are you tired of getting bad positions out of your chess openings? Are you tired of just not knowing what to do, not knowing where any of the pieces go? How about playing against a really annoying setup? Well, that's what we have right here. This is the Jobava London System. It's really popular with white. So this video I'm going to show you with black pieces how to play against it. Here we go. There are going to be so many different setups, all of them in the timestamps below. So from the top, well, what is this system? White goes d4. Knight c3, they play this early knight move. Normally we have pawn to c4, but not today. They play early knight c3. They want to get the center straight away. So if we play the wrong move, then we go into a perk defense. This is not really what we want. White is already planning to kick your knight away. So if you go d6, then there's a really good setup. Bishop c4 and queen e2. I cannot recommend playing like this with black. So from the top, here, d4, knight f6, knight c3. They want to get the center, so we must stop it with d5. And now this is the position from the opening. The bishop comes to f4, so we must stop it with pawn to a6. This little pawn move, it looks a little bit useless. No, it isn't. You're stopping knight to b5. You're also preparing some counterplay. Here we go. So first up, setup number 1, e3. Now, if we play e6, then white might go g4 already attacking us. So I want to suggest another option, bishop to f5. You might have seen my previous opening videos. I always try to get this bishop out the pawn chain. So this is one option. So first setup, we're going to look at bishop d3. Do we trade or we don't trade? Why do I want to look at this? Because it's the most normal move. Your opponent has played a bishop to an active square, so you might trade it. If we trade, this is something I will mention later. This is actually really good for white, so I don't really want to give white doubled central d-pawns to give him so much control. Remember this move, bishop dropping back to g6, because if take, then the rook is in the game. Then we want to go c5 to get in our pawn break. That is what the green arrow shows. The blue arrow, after we go c5, then the knight can come to c6. b5 is the red arrow, we can get space. And then yellow arrow, bishop out to d6. Let's go back a few moves. Now in this moment, maybe white wants to get space to attack this bishop. It's fine. It's like we kind of ignore it a little bit because we're going to trade for that bishop on d3. And then we can get in our pawn break pretty soon. Pawn to c5. Good. Next chapter. From the top again, setup number 2. Remember this move, we need to play pawn to a6. Next, our opponent might just play e3 again, and then they might, I'm going to show you f3, g4 later, and then knight f3 will actually be the final setup. It'll be the final thing I show in this video. That is the most critical setup that I came up with. Knight f3, e6. Normal kind of position. So, why is white's position maybe not the best? Well, because they don't have that easy pawn break. That's why later, at the end, I'm going to show you that. White might make a bad move with queen d2. It kind of looks okay because you want to castle queenside, but this pin is pretty annoying already. Even if you don't pin, you see, you don't have to. Just go c5, just go for a pawn break. Take, castle, castle. This is already looking pretty good. A lot of central control. And also, just so easy for black to get an attack. So this is not really the best way for white to play. Let's go back a few moves here. Bishop b4, you can pin, and after a3, we don't take the knight. We can go knight e4. That's a clever move. Hit the queen. Take. No, not take. Do not take. One. It just looks like such a normal move, and then you win. If I can even draw an arrow today, you can win the rook. Nope. After knight takes, they take. And then actually white is now a bit better because this bishop is amazing, is in the game. So in this moment, after a3, knight e4, move out of the way, just keep the pin, keep the pressure. This is already collapsing. There's only one good move here for white. They have to play b4. You might take the knight and then c5. That's a cool move. Remember that move in so many of these different kind of positions. Pawn break, because we are going for the pawn break our opponent doesn't have. Next chapter. From the top again, that's how these opening videos work. Pawn to a6, here we go. Now, let's say white wants to be greedy. They want to get the center for themselves. You need to go c5. That is really one key idea to remember. Greedy, so you strike first. c5. Now, if they take, you can go e6, then you get the pawn back, or even knight c6. Now, normally, what happens? They go e3. And then, perfect. You put pressure in the center. Knight c6 is better. You give your opponent a chance to go a little bit wrong. They shouldn't take, because now e5 we hit the bishop, and then our bishop can take. This is already looking good. So knight c6 and then e6. I don't mind actually, because I love getting this bishop out. It kind of looks uninviting because we get attacked by their pawn. Doesn't matter, it works, because we're putting enough pressure in the center. That's what you hear when you see my opening videos. I love getting that bishop out. g4, and then you drop it back. Where getting attacked doesn't matter, because we will have space with h6. Lot of pressure coming soon. Take, gonna go here, here, and then even queen out. Queen out to b6. So we might get attacked, doesn't matter, it drops back. And then there's a lot of pressure already. We can take in the center. Don't worry about this. I know I've said it before, but we're going to strike, and then we're going to take back. Good. And if we go back to that moment, bishop g6 here, we get attacked. This one, doesn't matter. You can even take on d4 actually. They've kind of messed up a bit. Yeah, you can't do that. See, take. And here, take. That's the brilliant thing. That's the brilliant thing. We attack the queen and the rook. Good. Next chapter. From the top again. Setup number 4, I think. a6 again. Lots of arrows, lots of ideas. Queen d3. Same kind of idea like I mentioned before. Your opponent wants to strike in the center, so you strike first. c5 coming up is a beautiful variation. See, they're not going to play e3. What a waste of time. Then the queen looks kind of like on a silly square. You can take knight c6, something like this already. There's no pawn break, you see. They've wasted their time to put the queen on that square, and we're putting pressure already. Also, there's no c7 pawn as a target. So this is not what they might go for. After this strike, they will take. They should take, and now you go d4. That's the cool thing. You displace their knight. Now, they can move the knight away. This is a blunder. Knight f4, no way. Check. Terrible move. We lose. We win their knight. So they should not play that. They might play this fancy move, castle. Can't take, we lose. We get checkmated, and we lose the queen. So here, good move, knight c6. I keep mentioning this move, but that's a good thing. Repetition means the student, the person watching, will remember. Let's have a look. We're 8 minutes in, almost done. Knight c6, we defend the queen as well. That's the cool thing. So white plays a wrong move, we take. The queen is defended from checkmate. So if we go back 2 moves here, knight c6, they might put the knight in the center. So we're down a pawn at the minute, but I actually find this position amazing. Watch this beautiful line coming up. Take, take, and now we can strike with f5. e5 is possible, but I looked at Stockfish to help me prepare for this video for you. f5 hit the queen, and now e5. More cool variation. If you just go to the wrong square, like bishop d2, well, you just get walked over, really. Take. e4 as well. That's why that is a fancy move, because after take, take, can you see white's pawns are just completely rolling down the board, and the king is in the center. Watch this move. I have to show this because it's absolutely brilliant. I've never seen this before. We want to find a way to just trap that London bishop, that Jobava London bishop g5. How cool is that? Just by flicking through the engine, but also understanding this to a point. Not every opening video is perfect. That's part of it. g5, hit both. Take. The point is you take with this pawn. That is the point. You can't do this because the queen's come off. And now you are down a piece. So that's a really cool variation I wanted to show. If we go back a few moves, here, f4. I've never, ever, ever seen this idea, trapping the bishop in such a way. Really crazy expansion. We're trapping the bishop. Good. Let's have a look. So here, that is one to show you. And now the final chapter. I think I've covered every line. Yeah, to the best of my ability. Here we go. Last setup. D4. Doesn't matter which you go for, here or here, your opponent will go into the same thing. Knight C3. And now bishop to F4. This is a different opening. I'm not showing that today. Bishop F4. Same move, guys. Same move. Pawn to A6. We want to get C5. Now go E3. Ideas to castle queenside. We saw that very early on. That was the second setup, I believe. Bishop F5. Remember this. Get the bishop out the pawn chain. E6. White needs to go for a pawn break, but he can't. So he needs to go for piece play. Knight F3. E6. Normal. Very healthy way to play. This is outside. This is what we want. Hit. Attack. Get space. Queen. Queen out. Get some counterplay. White doesn't have this in the game. Good. Now white needs to play with pieces. Early knight in the center. G4, H4. So when I was researching to create this video, I think this is a cool option. Let me show you why this is really good for white if black just plays a normal move. Already I'm feeling a bit scared. G4, hit the bishop, and then H4. Hitting our bishop. Our piece is trapped. So here, if take, we lose. We actually lose something. That bishop is not on a good square. It's trapped. So we can't actually do that. So that's why already, you see some of the best openings are where your opponent plays the normal moves and they get a worse position. Those are the best type of openings to go for. So here we need to do something else. We need to give our bishop a bit of space, so H6 a cool move. Drop it back. They might attack us, doesn't matter. It can go all the way back. And now we're ready to strike 1, 2, and then we can get rid of that knight pretty soon. This is one option. H4. G5 is now a threat, by the way. Because we can't go knight here because the queen guards it. So if I play a nothing move like here, can't go there. So already here, we need to step aside. It's like we are making sure we get rid of that really cool journey from the knight, you could say. It's a little bit strange. You might be thinking, well, he's just put the knight in the center as a good square. Not really. It's a tiny bit strange because you've moved a piece more than twice in the opening, and an opening principle is normally we don't. Knight D7, cool move. Get rid of that knight. Take. And then knight D7, hit the bishop, and then we're good. You take, I can take, so they might drop back and then take, and now C5 is possible, or even knight here as well. Something like this. Very sensible way to play. Guard the square. You might even go bishop D6 because their bishop is better. So you trade. Later you might go C6 to be solid, or C5. I don't really mind. Both are good. And now let's go back to here. Knight F3. Knight E5. H5. Nope. I don't like this. I just want to show you because it's not just about showing what you should do, but what you shouldn't. You see this pawn move, H5. I don't know if I love it because I know it stops G4, but that pawn is a little bit weak. They trade, good move. And now they take with a C pawn. Why is that a good move here? Because I don't know if I love this, because after take, it's this structure. It's actually such a cool way for white to play. With this idea, queen b3 is a bit annoying. Attack b7, rook c1 I already showed. And it's just a bit of a weird pawn on h5. So there we go. We have covered lots of setups. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which setup did you learn the most from. Every single moment, timestamp below for the viewer, for you to come back, and you can always look at a key section. Top left corner, 2 brand new videos. Mastered Queen's Gambit, declined just like Magnus Carlsen. New video. It's a pre-release, which means I've made this video now, but I haven't actually clicked release yet. It'll be set up. It'll be released tomorrow. Bottom left corner, turning the London system against itself. 6 setups. That's a really cool one. 6 ways for black to play against the London. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video and which one you might go for next. Thank you so much.